What's up, YouTube? Today we will be making a text-based choose-your-own-adventure game that we are going to be playing in the terminal. This is intended for absolute beginners, so you do not need any prior coding knowledge to get started with this tutorial. The only thing I assume of you is that you can run and edit Python code files. I will be doing PyCharm to do this. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Up here at the top, all I have is what's called a comment. If we have a hashtag in front of anything in Python, it will ignore the rest of what's on that line. So I can write a hashtag and then I can write whatever I want, hello there, right? And Python will just ignore whatever it sees. But for our actual game, the first thing we are going to do is we're going to start with a print statement. All of this is going to do is going to print directly into our terminal the words exactly that we write. So we're going to write print. You have to do an open parentheses and then in quotes. And then whatever we put in here, it will get directly printed into the terminal. So we're going to say just some welcome message to our adventure game. So we're going to say, welcome to the dungeon. When you enter the door, you find yourself in an empty room with two more doors. And I misspelled welcome. Okay. And plural doors. And so now, if we were to run this, it will just print that out of the terminal right there exactly as it showed and then in the program. Now, we would like to be able to ask our user, our player, what they would like to do, and so that is going to be done with the input command in Python. So whenever you type the input command, it will ask for a prompt, is what you will put inside of it, and so do you go in the right door or the left? And so we shall do that as a prompt, and so what this will do is it will say print our same welcome statement at the front, and then it will print that prompt that we gave. Do you go into the right door or the left? And it will just wait before ending the program for us to say something. And we can say whatever we want here. I'll just say left, and then it ends and ignores what else happens with that. We would like to know what our player said, and you remember that. And so that we're going to use what's called a variable. And this is just anything that will store information. So we're going to call it choice. In Python, all you do is you just write your name of your variable that you want it to be, and then set it equal to whatever you want. And so here, we are writing out choice and setting it equal to our user input. And so this will take whatever string that our person says and then store it inside of choice. Now that we have our input inside of our variable that we have named choice, we can do lots of different things with it. Our most simple example would be just like printing it right back out. So we can say print choice. And this will make it to where we will print out whatever we put in, and so we can run our program. We'll see our same original prompt, welcome to the dungeon, yada, and do you choose the right or left? I'll say right this time. And we'll print out right afterwards. It's just printing out our choice that we gave. Now that's not exactly what we want to do. We would like to do something based off of that choice. So I'm going to remove that print statement, and then we're going to do what's called an if statement, which is where we're going to branch out and do something different. And that's in Python is simply done as if, and then we're going to write the variable, so choice, and then we're going to do equals equals. Right. Now the equals equals is important. And what this is saying is single equals says make this variable to be what I have here. So this is saying make choice equal to the input of our player. This is saying what is choice, and ask it if it is equal to right, the word right. And so here with the equals equals, that is asking for an evaluation of equality. Is choice equal to right? And so if that is the case, this will evaluate to true, and then we will then execute what is inside this block, which you're going to make as another print statement. And we're going to say, let's say choosing right was the wrong door, so we're going to say you fall into a pit of spikes and game. And so now, whenever we do that, that's what will happen, and so we can test that out. We can play. Do you enter the right or the left? Let's say right. You fall into a pit of spikes and die. Game over. If statements in Python generally come with an if or an else, and then followed by an else. And so here we can say else, and this is if they said anything else. We can say, so this was the correct door, you find a room with tons of treasure. You win. And so this way we can congratulate our player for choosing the correct option, and we can and go from there. And so here, now, so if we say right, we will fall into the pit of spikes, but if we say left, it'll tell us we found a room with tons of treasure, and we won. Woohoo! Now this is not exactly correct, because if we go here and we say none of them, it says we find a room with tons of treasure and we won. And why does it do that? So here, right, we just said else. We didn't say, we just asked if our choice is equal to right, then we'll do this. If it's anything else, then say that we won. As long as it's not exactly right. And that's true even for like case sensitive, right? So if we say right, as opposed to lowercase right, then it will still say that. And here, in this circumstance for this tutorial, we will be assuming perfect user input, and they say right, spelled all lowercase every single time, and they do it correctly every time. We will go over how to make it to where our user can input other options later, but for now we are just going to assume that they will always do it correct. But we still want to not say that they've won unless if they say left. And so we want to say what's called an else if in Python, or an elif. So elif is just a combination of the words else if smashed together. So that's else. And so if it isn't right, then we will evaluate the second option, and we'll say, well, is the choice equal to left? And if it is, we'll print out the rooms of treasure. And if it's not, then we shall go to the next else statement, and we'll print something like, I didn't understand the input. And just leave it at that and move on and end the program regardless. So here we can test it out one more final time. Welcome to the dungeon. When you enter the door, you find yourself in your room. And do you go to the right or left? We'll say right. Fall in a bit of spikes and die. And then we'll run it again. This time we'll choose left, and we find the rooms of treasure. And this time we want to make sure that our else if and else is working properly, so we shall say none. I didn't understand the input. We shall say banana. Didn't understand the input. So that seems to be working great. We can go through our dungeon, and here you can follow everything with this. You can expand on this as much as you like. All you need is these if statements. You can ask if it's equal to any input. Again, the user will have to input exactly correct. They will have to say exactly what you write in these quotation marks after the equal sign of that if statement. If they put in anything else, it won't work. But with this, you can just continue to expand, taking in new choices to an additional if statements, and following along and deciding what happens here. And for one final aspect of this, these indentations in Python are very important. That's what determines code blocks. And so we can do more than just a single print statement in the side of this if block. And so instead, we can say something along the lines of print, you see a pit of spikes. Do you And so then here, we are just going to reuse our choice variable. That is fine, it'll just get overwritten. And so we're going to say choice equals input go back or move forward. And then we're going to do another if statement with inside of this if block. We're going to say if choice equals go back, then we will print you leave the dungeon and go home. And then we're going to say elif choice equals move forward. Oh, and oops. If they say that, then we are going to take this print statement actually and just save that here. And then else we are going to go else print I didn't understand the input. And again, we're just going to do nothing about it here, and we're just going to end the program there. So now we should be able to see us, gotta stop our current running, see us go through here. And so if we choose the right door, do we turn around or move forward? And let's say we go back. You leave the dungeon and go home. And I'm going to actually put a space at the end here so that the input is not right next to that question. No, not the wrong place. This input. And so now, if we choose right, and do we turn around or move forward? Let's say we move forward. Fall until they hit the spikes and die. Game over. And then if we go right, and then anything else, hello, I don't understand the input. And that is all I have for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.